This episode is brought to you by the Thrive Tribe. Thrive Tribe is our all access pass to exclusive content, ad free episodes, a monthly newsletter, and much more. Check it out at chasingbrighter.com/Thrive Tribe. Welcome to Superwoman Diaries, where each week we share personal stories and open up about our journeys. At Chasing Brighter, we know that being a woman today is complicated. We want to get vulnerable. We know that vulnerability is where real connection happens. Get ready to dive deep and connect as we reveal the real and raw moments behind the scenes of our lives. Hi, Kelly. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jess.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good. I wanted to tell you, I want to make a reel about it. I know I've talked with you about my trials and tribulations of moving into my new office, but I need to get internet. And basically, because I'm in an office suite, all of these internet providers are telling me I need to get business internet. But business internet is a lot of, what do I want to say, like technology or a lot of data that I just don't need
Yes,
on,
heavier
on
than
what
what you
we're
need.
using.
Mhm.
And so I found it said it was T-Mobile Business, and it's actually T-Mobile Gateway. And basically, the way I'm explaining it to listeners, I don't know how T-Mobile explains it, but basically, it is like a really heavy duty, like hotspot, a 5G thing. So I got it, and mom was like, "How are they going to set up?" Because they're like, "We're going to overnight it to you." And they were like, "It shows we don't have really good service in your area, but it shows that your office is right by a tower. So why don't you just try it for 2 weeks for free and see how it works?" So it comes and you plug it in the wall, and then it says to download the T-Mobile app, and then it has a little screen on this. I'm calling it a modem, whatever it is. And it has these 10-digit numbers, and I'm entering, and I'm like, "Okay, Kelly, when we don't know what to do, there are two places that we go, ChatGPT and YouTube." So I was like, "Let me go to YouTube." And there was a person, they go, "I just got my T-Mobile." They plug it in, and like on every modem and router, you know how there's a sticker on the back and it gives a password? It literally was like password. So then I entered the password and I put it on my smart TV in the office. I put my phone on it and I put my computer on it and then was like testing it. And
How's it
it's
working?
like ridiculous. It's
Oh,
amazing.
great.
So I want to
Great.
test it out by having 3 computers at the office with 3 people zooming at the same time, because that would be the most that would be
Yeah.
happening while the TV's streaming. So I have a TV in the lobby just
Okay.
to help with sound. I have like this
You
Zen
can
music
bring
playing.
your
So
children in
yeah,
and have them game while you
yeah,
stream. Have
that's
them
true.
suck.
That would
They're
be
like
heavy.
vampires.
Gaming is what,
They're bandwidth vampires.
but it's unlimited data, a great price. It's like a third of the price of what the cable, whatever, for what other places were trying to tell me. And it is interesting, even when you're in a major city, it depends on where you are to where you can get internet. Now, you guys moved in what, 2021? When did you move into
Yeah,
the house?
2021. Yep.
And it's, you just forget, I haven't moved for 15 years. The office suites I've been having have everything
It is a
set
pain
up
when
for
you have
me.
to
Like,
get
I
all
don't
that
remember
stuff set
setting
up.
anything up. Yeah, it took me, was it almost 2 weeks? No, I exaggerate. It took 10 days to get the power set up in my office. There were some snafus where I'm suite E, but all of the electricity says F on it. There is no suite F.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they were telling me your power's on. And then I like take a picture of the electric meter and they're like, that is not the meter that we have. And so just those little things, just little tiny things. And then I had to get all new furniture. And I think you've talked about Facebook Marketplace, right? You use Facebook
Yes,
Marketplace?
I love it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I was like, let me just, I don't want to build furniture. I just want to buy furniture. And just having a hard time being able to, like, someone was out of town and then the furniture was sold. Then I found another piece I wanted and I messaged the person, but then I looked and it said that they were a member of Facebook since 2024. And I was like, that's weird."
Yeah.
Then I'm like,
Yes.
okay. Then I keep looking and there's another Facebook account with literally the exact same piece of furniture. So one of them is, I don't know if you call them like catfish accounts or fake accounts, but one of them was a fake account. So then I was like totally turned off on Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, I'm good. I don't need
That's
to use that.
crazy. I
Yeah,
haven't
those
you
weird.
it's what's annoying is the scamming is rampant,
I
and so
know.
you just have to assume. So, for Facebook Marketplace, I will profile, to your point, the person. I usually do first come, first serve, so the first person who pings me, I will look at their Facebook profile, look if they make regular posts, look like if they seem like a normal person who does normal things. If they don't have any posts and they don't have a lot of activity, I won't use them,
Yeah.
especially if it's newer. So, it just depends on the vibe of
Yeah,
the
I
person.
don't have time to read people buy like, I just bought new furniture, so it
Yeah,
is
no, I get
annoying
it.
and
It's
frustrating,
unfortunate. It's
though. It
unfortunate that
is. It's
it's,
so
like,
annoying.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanna talk to you about I was listening to the news, and maybe everybody knows this, but are you familiar with the term Venmo mom?
I'm ready for it.
So, there's a bit of controversy on this, but when it comes to volunteering as a parent at school, there are volunteer moms and there are Venmo moms.
Okay.
And those are moms who would rather send money than volunteer their
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And there is a woman who this was even a couple months ago, I think, but started this expression of the fact that it's like, hey, I'm a Venmo mom and I'm going to send money and that's what I'm going to do. And just, I think what's funny about it is there are women or moms, actually, I'll say parents. There are parents who are volunteers who might judge the Venmo parent, and there are Venmo parents who might judge the volunteer parent because the volunteer parent, the Venmo parents think that the volunteer parents feel like they are better
Yeah.
because they're the ones volunteering their time. And then the Venmo parents think that they're better. They don't, but the volunteer parents perceive that the Venmo parents are like these elitist people who just throw money at things, right? I think I'm a little bit of both. Do you feel like you're
I just
a
hate how people, or maybe this is me, but we wanna, I think as women, we wanna support each other.
yes,
And
yes.
it's, "Do you, boo," and sometimes it's sending money, sometimes it's fun. Listen, uh, there is a lot of research. I know we've talked about this research before, about being involved in your kid's school, being able to volunteer, but I also think that's a privilege. That is a privilege to be able to have a schedule in which you can help with kids' activities and that you can help do that, and so I think any way you can be involved and support your kids is great. So if that's
I agree. I
helping
mean, there are
finance
parents who
things, go for it.
I think if we're coming from a place of love and kindness, everyone is doing the best they can with what they have. Everyone is trying to live their best life on this earth. And when it comes to parenting, especially working parents, they maybe don't have the time. And I would think that in some ways you can view both as if you had a classroom where you had both. And I feel like that's where my kids' classes have been, where it's like there are parents who are involved and there are parents who now will donate. I'm
And
now
they
in
are
Venmo.
involved. Their way of being right, there are people who are involved by being present, and there are people who are involved by sending financial support.
And there are people who maybe aren't involved at all, and there's always a mix, and I feel like it might be different times of years too, where it's like
Mhm.
sometimes and if there are parents who are in very high stress demanding jobs, you don't maybe hear from them, and that just is what it is, and so I think trying to really assume that everyone is doing the best they can.
Yeah.
I thought it was just very interesting. I do find that it seems like anymore that's why I think the rise of, like, clubs for sports. I think every everyone is trying to do as much as they can and live their best life, and by doing that, there's a lot of choices, and so everyone's trying to offload things that they don't necessarily have time for or that is too stressful, like tutoring your child, right? That's really stressful for me. And maybe if I found somebody, I would rather have them do it because I actually still am tutoring and it still is stressful for me. Clubs, because I want my kid to play sports, but I don't want a crappy coach. So I'm going to be willing to pay a little more money so my kid can get a better experience than the rec ball with the dad who just plays his son all the time, I think. My
It
deep thoughts.
reminds me of because I feel like we grew up a little bit in a culture of judgment, and I feel like I'm very culpable of that. And Mel Robbins had a reel out a few weeks ago, and it was showing like a woman, and she was in the coffee shop, and her preschooler was like screaming, and she was like, just you can have anything you want, any pastry you want. And these two older women were like, that's what's wrong with kids these days. People let their kids get whatever they want, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes 20 minutes before. And the woman just picked up the son from foster care. She goes, thank you so much for taking this child. This is his sixth, I'm just making up like sixth
Yeah.
foster home in 3 months. And he was like, I'm hungry. And she was like, would you like to go get something to eat? And he was like, yes. And then there was like this guy who was like weaving on the road and driving really slow. And a car was like slamming on his horn and pulled up a sign, was like screaming at him. And then it showed 20 minutes before, and the guy's wife had just died in the hospital. And he was like, how am I going to tell the kids? And so it was like these little vignettes of people judging, but then looking how it was in that person's life.
I
And it was about
yeah.
kindness. And I do have
Mhm.
to say, I'm kind. It's just in my brain that I'm judging, but it makes me just want to lead with compassion and not judgment.
And I think it's like training your brain to when you jump to that judgment, then try to figure out what that other narrative could be. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think that's really fun. And I'll do that sometimes when I hear even whether it's myself or Brian or a colleague, if we talk about somebody who's really annoying, and I'm like, hold on, let's like create this completely other narrative that like is a place of like love and kindness of why we should cut this person a lot of slack for like how
Yeah.
they're behaving.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the unfortunate part too, though, is that there are a, there's a growing, I don't know if it's a growing number, but there are inconsiderate people in this world. And especially living in the city right now, it's just really insane. I think during the holidays, people get crazy, right? Too. And so because people are stressed and people tend to turn inward. So I think one of the things that from Chasing Brighter, what we want to do is really help us know that we're not, we don't want to judge ourselves and we don't want to judge others. We
Yeah.
always assume everyone is doing the best they can. I think for the most part, many of us beat ourselves up more than anything else.
There's
And
a great
yeah.
a great reel that Two Little Loves had that was like, this was from a long time ago, and she was like talking to her kids, and she goes, remember, you need to treat everyone that you're going to interact with today with kindness. We don't know their day. We don't know their home life.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know the particular situation, and sometimes I don't. And I'm like, we don't even know if they
Yes.
had breakfast.
Yes.
What if they don't
Yeah.
even have food at their house and they don't have anything, or sometimes, like I said, we do know their situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's just like, how do you have compassion for your others? And that does start with us, like self-compassion. And we've done episodes on self-compassion before. I think if we're quick to judge, that often means we're quick to judge ourselves,
Yeah, I
which
agree. I
is
think
not
that's where it
healthy
comes
or
from.
helpful.
Yeah. Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
And trying to get ourselves out of that comfortable, well-worn path of not being so compassionate of ourselves.
And it does not take a lot of energy to be kind.
Thanks for listening today. Don't forget to subscribe so you can hear our latest episodes as soon as they drop.
If you loved today's episode, share with a friend.
Join us each week as we bring you inspiring stories, expert interviews, and actionable tips to help you navigate the challenges and opportunities of midlife. From wellness to personal growth to connection and beyond, we've got you covered.
We are passionate about helping you live your brightest, most fulfilling life. Together, we'll explore new ways to thrive and grow, ensuring that your midlife journey is full of joy, purpose, and endless possibilities.
So, are you ready to chase brighter days ahead? Subscribe to Chasing Brighter now, and let's embark on this exciting journey together.
Find us on Instagram, Facebook at Chasing Brighter, or check out our blog at chasingbrighter.com and follow us. If you want to know more about Kelly and I, read our blogs, find more tips, tools, and resources, check that out at chasingbrighter.com. Thanks. Remember, your best life is just a listen away.